Unconfirmed appointments, a major time waster. How many times do we go out to see somebody that we made an appointment with a week or 2 weeks before and we don't reconfirm? Do you know why we don't reconfirm? Because we don't want them to say no, right? We'd much rather go there and have the secretary tell us that they're too busy or that they're out or they've changed their schedule than call up on the phone and have them say, no, I've changed my mind. But it's far better to reconfirm the appointment. In most cases, one of two things will happen. They'll say, oh yes, I forgot, but you're right, coming over at 2 o'clock. They will make the time available and be expecting you. They'll also consider you to be a professional. A person who reconfirms appointments is a professional person who values their time and obviously has something valuable to say. The second thing is that if their schedule has changed, what they will do is they'll say, well look, my schedule's changed, something else has come up, and you have the opportunity to make a new appointment right there, again to write it down so as not to waste your time. Nothing worse than driving halfway across town to an unconfirmed appointment and finding the person's gone to another city for the day. Poor planning of calls in a geographic area. We've all been guilty of this. We make one call in the northeast, another call in the southwest. We put an hour between our calls, and then in the afternoon we go all the way back up to the northeast again to call on somebody. It's very important that you cluster your calls, and if you're prospecting by telephone to set up appointments, keep all of your calls clustered in as close an area as possible. And if you're going to set up 2 or 3 days of appointments, set up one cluster in one part of the city, another cluster in another part of the city, so that you can get to as many as possible within the shortest period of time. Perfectionism, insisting on everything being perfectly in order before selling. Very often we use this as an excuse. Well, we have to really memorize every single detail. We have to check on every single form. We have to get everything prepared, and we go over this and we do anything possible to keep us from getting out there face-to-face with a customer. Recognize that you're doing this. Recognize that it's natural and normal to fear rejection. It's natural and normal to be uneasy about going out and talking to people. There's nothing wrong with it. The only thing that is wrong with it is if you allow the fear to dominate you so that it holds you back from fulfilling your potential in your business. You've got to overcome that fear if you want to achieve high levels of success and high income in this field. There is no other way. And the only way to overcome it is to do it over and over again until it doesn't bother you. Distraction, mind wandering, not paying attention to what the customer is saying, not paying attention to what the boss is saying for that matter, so that you miss key cues. You miss the nuances, you miss the subtle things, you miss the looks that the person gives at certain parts of your offering that would indicate to you what it would take to cause the person to buy or not to buy. Fatigue or overwork is another one. Being overtired. If you go out late at night and you get up early in the morning and you're tired out or you're dragged out, you're not going to be good at selling. The essence of selling is vitality. If you like, personal vitality, energy. And the more energy you have, the more energy you project in the form of enthusiasm and conviction to the other person. If you're tired out, you have low levels of energy like a battery that's been worn out. And I strongly suggest that if you're going to sell 5 days a week, you owe it to yourself to go to bed early 5 days a week so that you're fresh and alert. This will translate into an enormous amount of money. Go to bed early, get a good night's sleep so you feel great in the morning and that you have the resilience. When you meet that rejection, when people say, no, I'm not interested, I'm not in the market, I can't afford it, which you're going to reach every day, I think it was Vince Lombardi that said, fatigue doth make cowards of us all. When you're tired, it's very hard to take rejection. It depresses you. It tires you out even more. Whereas if you're fresh and you're resilient and you've got energy and you've had a good breakfast, people can tell you no and it'll just bounce off you, just like Teflon if you like. It's very important. Lack of ambition, desire, and energy, especially lack of ambition. There's nothing that can help a person that has no ambition. I was talking to a senior salesperson from one of Canada's largest companies, and it turns out that these people all have an average length of service of about 20 years. They never get fired because they've got a salesman's union. They're all on fixed salary. There's no incentives and no commission. And I was trying to talk to them about setting goals for themselves, setting higher targets, managing their time better. I'm sorry, he said, I can't relate to any of that. He said, I have no ambition. He said, I don't care if I do more, I don't care if I do less. It doesn't change my income, it doesn't change my position, it doesn't change my responsibilities. Why should I? He said, I just prefer to work my 8 hours and go home and watch television. This is a 40-year-old man. Oh my Lord, he said, you're going to live till you're 80 or 90 years old according to the latest longevity studies, And at 40 years old, the fires are out. At 40 years old, there's no ambition, there's no desire, there's no energy, there's no enthusiasm. What kind of a person is that? He's got another 50 years to live. Probably not.